Hey there folks, Rel here, and welcome to PlanetSide 2 Basic Training. Today we'll be laying the foundation for your future on Araxis. PlanetSide 2 is a massively multiplayer online first-person shooter where you wage war for one of three main factions across 4 diverse continents and against hundreds of players at the same time. That said, let's give you a brief look at some of the fundamentals and then offer up some tips to help get you started. After you've created an account on PlanetSide2.com and you've installed the client, the first thing that you're going to be doing is creating a character. This character will belong to one of 3 factions. The Vanu Sovereignty are zealots who place their faith in alien technologies, believing that it'll bring about the evolution of the human race. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen, but their technology does allow them to be more mobile than the other factions, harness quicker than average reload speeds, as well as some unique heat and charge-up based mechanics that excel where other factions might fail. The Terran Republic holds on to militaristic ideals and aims to unite the 3 factions under the same banner. They keep true to age-old standards in weaponry and focus on a high rate of fire, larger than average magazine sizes, and more DACA than any other faction. The new conglomerate are the freedom fighters of the group. Well, kind of. They're conscripts who are funded by major corporations to fight back against the Terran Republic and the Vanu Sovereignty. And because of that, their weapons and armor are a little bit less refined than the other factions, but they generally hit harder at the cost of their rate of fire. So those are the 3 factions, the Vanu Sovereignty, the Terran Republic, and the new conglomerate. Deciding which one best fits your beliefs and playstyle is up to you, but you can always create more characters to give other factions a try. By default, your new character is going to run through a brief tutorial. You can opt out at any time, but it's highly suggested that you do go through it, as it'll outline a lot of important mechanics that you'll want to know about later. That being said, we're going to offer up some advice for what to do after the tutorial, and help you start making good decisions right from the jump. Throughout Araxis, you'll be able to access a number of different terminals. Each has a different use. You can locate terminal types based on their minimap icons, and it will show you which is which in just a moment. It's also worth noting that these terminals are only accessible if your faction has ownership of them, and that can be determined based on their color. Purple for VS, blue for NC, and red for the TR. There are 2 types of terminals for ground vehicles and 2 types of terminals for air vehicles. For ground vehicles, all outposts have access to a standard vehicle terminal capable of spawning flash ATVs, harassers, sunderers, and lightning tanks, but only terminals marked with a tank icon are able to spawn your main battle tanks, and that's only if your faction owns a tech plant on your current continent. But even if you don't own a tech plant, you can still spawn a main battle tank at any time from your warp gate. For air vehicles, the most common terminal can spawn your Valkyrie, Liberator, or Empire-specific fighter, but only terminals marked with the bigger transport vehicle can spawn your Galaxies. Galaxy terminals are located on most tower base types, as well as in tech plants and warp gates. If you're on the map screen and waiting to redeploy, you can check out which bases have access to which terminals by just looking at the icons next to their name, so there's no need to memorize this stuff right away. Infantry terminals are standardized though, and you'll see them everywhere. These terminals allow you to resupply ammo, grenades, and utility items, as well as change your current class or loadout. If you're ever injured while near a spawn room and there aren't any combat medics nearby to heal you up, you can just access the infantry terminal, swap over to your medic class, and then heal yourself up using the ability key. Then you just switch back to whichever class you wanted to play in the first place. Speaking of spawn rooms, it's worth mentioning that there is always at least one spawn room located at every base. While inside of a spawn room, enemies won't be able to shoot at you or see inside, but you will be able to shoot out of it. That being said, spawn rooms are not good places to hang out because if you aren't pressing the attack, then you aren't helping your faction. If you find yourself closed off by enemy forces, instead of walking out the spawn room door, there are 2 much better options that you can take. The first is to see if there is a teleporter in your spawn room. Many spawn rooms have one, and walking into it will pop you out at another part of the base, and with any luck, you'll be able to flank your enemies and make some progress toward recapturing that base. The second option is to just find a new fight. You can always do this by pressing the redeploy key, which is the U key by default, and after a short countdown, so long as you don't take any damage, you are returned to the map screen and you're able to deploy at another base of your choosing. When looking for a fight, especially as a lower level player who is still learning the game, it's a good idea to find bases that your faction is defending, and have either a 50-50 split as far as population goes, or around a 60-40 split in your favor. This way, you still have enemies coming at you, but you also have the home field advantage, so you can support your faction and rack up some easy experience in the process. Hopefully you found something useful in this brief overview, and I look forward to seeing you on the battlefield. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if you have any helpful advice for newer players, or if you have any questions you'd like to ask, feel free to do that in the comment section down below. Remember that the basic training series covers a wide variety of topics, so if there's something specific that you're interested in, be sure to check out other videos in the series. Thanks very much, folks. We're all signing off.